All right, we're doing area of a rectangle. A rectangular poster, remember area is, the formula for area equals length times width, if you forgot. A rectangular poster is 1/4 of a yard wide and 3/4 of a yard tall. What is the area? Solve the problem any way you choose. So you can use appropriate tools like grid paper to solve the problem. So in this case, it's like we're drawing, you know how we drew our boxes off to the side? And if we said 1/4, we could shade in 1/4 in that direction and 3/4 starting in the upper left-hand corner. We can shade in 3/4 so we know our overlap is 3 out of 16 altogether. So we can just draw that off to the side, or we can use grid paper. So on grid paper, the same thing. We have 1/4, so we just take 4 boxes, and 3/4, so we take 4 boxes using our denominator, 4 by 4, and then we can shade in the 1/4, and then we shade in the 3/4 in the other direction, and we can see our overlap. There's our overlap. I'm going to change my color a little bit here. My overlap is 1, 2, 3 boxes, 3/4. So you can use graph paper instead of drawing a little shape off to the side. If you'd like to use a model to show multiplication and to find the area of a rectangle. So what is the area of the rectangle? So it's the area is 3 out of 16. 3/4 times 1/4 is 3 out of 16. That would be our area. And that would actually be 3/16 yards squared as we move forward into measurement. Square yards. All right. Oops. How can you find the area of a rectangle with fractional side lengths? Well, we just did that. So if we're going to have fractional side lengths, area is still length times width, no matter what you're multiplying. And you can see in the example, step 1, they made a shape because they're using fourths and thirds. So they've got a shape divided into fourths in the column, thirds in the row. And they shaded in 1/4, kind of like this, 1/3, kind of like that, and the overlap was right there, 1 out of 12. And if you do this in this shape, there's actually 5/4 is, you've got 4/4, which makes a whole, and 1 more fourth is 5/4. It's not 5/5. That one's a little tricky to see, but you can watch the video in Savis to help you with that. If you do not remember the formula for finding area of a rectangle, how can you find the area? So if you don't remember the formula, you can use grid paper. That's a tool to find out, count the number of boxes. How could you define area? Area is the number of squares used. So it's the number, number of squares or square units used to cover an area. Find the area of a rectangle with the side of 2/3 and 1/2 of a foot. You just multiply, it's 2 6s, which reduces to 1/3. So we say it's 1/3 foot squared or 1/3 square feet. So they They abbreviate square as SQ with a period, and foot is FT. Find the area of a square with the side lengths of 5/4 of an inch. So when they say the area of a square, every side is the same. So length times width would be 5/4 times 5/4, which would be 25/16. And when we turn 25/16, remember, jam the 16 up to 25. It goes one time, and we have 9/16 left over, and it's square inches, or you can say inches square, that little 2 that sits up a little higher. And as you move down the page, you're going to see some illustrations. Remember, if that is confusing you, you can do the math off to the side. Or you can just, what you count is the whole shape. So this, for 8, it's a 10 by 1, 2, 3, 4. And that one's a misleading one. So that's a 10 by 5. So we know it's out of 50. And when we count the squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if you don't want to do the math, 3/10 times 4/5 equals 12/50. You can count the squares. There you go. Area of a rectangle using fractions.